There we go. I had my mic muted. What's going on, everybody? Thank you for the lurk cuddle. Much appreciated as always. And hey, welcome back to the Academy, guys. Hope you had a fantastic week and a fantastic weekend here. Right now, I am looking at what is arguably one of the nicest days that we have had in a very long time outside. Easily in the 70s outside right now. And I'm probably gonna open up my window here in just a moment here because it is just too damn beautiful outside to not have at least a little bit of fresh air coming in here. But hey, happy that you could join us for today. Love all your beautiful faces, and just realized I did not get this up and running on my phone so I can make sure that everything looks okay. Actually, I can do that. Do that from here. I'll do that from here real quick. I like to have it on my phone, but that's only when I have a game running, because then it usually ends up being just too many things at once, and so I'm gonna open this up instead. Oh, and the misses.
Wait, we gotta kill him with those shoulders.
Thank you, love, for continuing to sub to Team Sanity. Much appreciated as always. Oh, and look at this, Dalish, making sure to plug the fact that this upcoming Saturday, April 30th, we have the Team Sanity Mario Kart Switch tournament. Very excited about that. And Dalish, you forgot to tell me something. What might that something be? I wonder. Oh my goodness, yes, I did see something about this. If there is a topic that you want us to fill out, to really take care of, to talk about on here, by all means, make sure to let us know using that Google form that was just listed in the chat. It will allow us to cover all of the topics that you want us to cover. Evans, how you doing, buddy? Oh heck, what is wrong? Something the matter? I hope everything's okay. Oh, and thank you as always, Dalish. You are appreciated. Howdy, Evans. How you doing, buddy? Hope you're having a fantastic Sunday here. Oh, it's finally nice out, and I'm so happy that it is finally nice out. It took quite a long time to get to this point, and so you're getting ready to go mow the lawn, gonna lurk for a bit. Excellent. And dude, same. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yep, these northeastern New York winters, or not, northeastern United States winters are just the worst. And so it's nice that we're getting a nice day here, only for it to be ruined over the next couple of weeks, or the next week or so anyway, because it's just gonna dip back down in temperature, but I hate it. You were gonna mow the lawn the other day, but then it started snowing. I hate everything about that sentence that you just stated there. Yes, you gotta do it. You should be mowing the lawn, but you don't want to miss out on the primo advice. Evans, I appreciate you. Thank you for being here. And don't worry, I should have been doing so many productive things earlier today. Other than like folding laundry and going to the gym, I have done zero productive things. I was trying to do all of the just super content creator productive things, because I'm gonna actually be out of town next weekend, and so I won't have my usual amount of time that I have to make extra content, and so I really should be doing this, but I haven't gotten that far yet. We started working on the lawn yesterday, but then the weed whacker battery died, but your husband filled it with gas tank in the mower because you have no idea how to... Ah, yes, of course, Dalish. This is totally not just Evans, it's weird how, like, this actually does feel like procrastination for myself right now as well. Yeah, slacking on adulting. I've been doing a lot of that. And Dalish, enjoy that lurk, and if you're listening while you are mowing lawn. That is also lots of fun and greatly appreciated. It means I can just talk to you as you are doing it. And I did a lot of adulting yesterday myself. My the lease on my car is up towards the end of the calendar year, and as such, I started to look into a new car, if there was any fun deals, or if I was going to be buying out the car that I'm currently in. And lo and behold, the best deal that I got was a brand new car, brand new lease, no money down, lower monthly payment than what I had, and a couple extra features to boot. So that was my adulting yesterday. I can't even say that I was able to negotiate it, because it was something that I was able to just say, this is what I wanted, and the guy was like, okay. What do you mean? Like, that's it? And they're like, that's what you want, right? I'm like, yeah, that's what I want. And they're like, okay, let's do it. Let's make it happen. I'm like, shit. My entire car buying experience for my entire life has been like getting gypped by car dealers. And so I am definitely very happy that I was able to get something that was a little on the more affordable side here, and a little bit smaller than the car I have now, which is also something I wanted. Better fuel efficiency that way. And so don't mind me lurking here. Also, if I freak out at any random point, there's a bug flying around this room, and every now and then he likes to land on me. Haven't quite caught him yet. I was hoping the cats would take care of this, but there's not a singular cat in sight. But with all of that in mind, today we discuss a topic that is something that I would say most content creators get at some point or another in their career. And yes, I will say, as a content creator, whether you are a streamer or otherwise, it is part of your career. And I'm gonna reinforce this as I go here, because the topic we are talking about here is imposter syndrome. And so, very important topic, not one that a lot of people want to talk about. And so, if you at any point or another have, that is a sus topic, isn't it? How many, so you just raise your hands in the chat here. But as I define this, if you have encountered imposter syndrome before in your own content creation, just raise your hand. Just give me a casual, like, yeah, I've encountered it before. So imposter syndrome refers to an internal experience believing you are not as competent as others perceive you to be. And so, Dalish raising their hands very quickly. I will very much raise my hand. To put it very simply here, it is basically when you think that you are not as good as other people think that you are at what you do. It's usually applied to a variety of different areas, whether it be intelligence, achievement, perfectionism. There is definitely a social context to it. Evans, I'm gonna smack you. I am gonna smack you, Evans. Because what you just said in that statement contradicts itself. That's exactly what imposter syndrome happens to be. Imposter syndrome is that belief that you're not good enough for what it is that you're doing. You don't deserve the recognition that you are getting. And so, in terms of you saying you're not good enough for imposter syndrome, it literally means, like, what you're saying right there is that, like, oh, I can't even have imposter syndrome because that would imply that I have any success. Guess what? You just encountered imposter syndrome. Congratulations. And so, sorry to break it to you that way, but it's pretty insane here to think about. Oh, pardon me. And so some of the additional characteristics of imposter syndrome, An inability to realistically assess your competence and skills. Basically saying like, I'm not actually as good at this as you think that I am. You love being an object lesson. Attributing your success to external factors, basically saying that none of the success that you have had has been because of you or any of your efforts. Berating your performance, like if you're doing well, you find excuses to say like, oh no, like it wasn't actually that great, blah blah blah. Fear that you won't live up to expectations, whether those are expectations you place on yourself or expectations placed on you by others. Overachieving is a characteristic. This is a big thing for myself. I have very lofty ambitions when it comes to this stuff, and as such, I am very hard on myself. On especially like with me right now, I had a very explosive growth with YouTube over like the beginning of 2022, and it slowly started to decline and kind of steady out. And that right there got me into thinking like, oh, I'm not doing enough. Like I need to go overboard again. And like oh, thank you, babe. I appreciate it. It's fun to put myself in the spotlight here, which is why it's a very hard topic to talk about, because a lot of people do experience this, and it's hard to put yourself under the microscope. And Dalish, I don't know, man. I sure as heck know. But here's another big one: sabotaging your own success. Basically, trying to prevent yourself, like there's success is coming your way and you find a way to prevent it from occurring. Self-doubt is another big one. Setting very challenging goals and feeling disappointed when you fall short. That one's a very big one for myself. And you know, like a lot of that comes from the fact that I do set very large goals for myself, and that means that sometimes it's tough and you have to break those goals up. And that sabotage is very much a huge one. Absolutely. There's that bug again, just climbing the wall. And excellent, Whisperwoods Gaming. Thank you for joining the tournament. I unfortunately, just to go on a quick tangent here, I will unfortunately not be available for the tournament next week, as I will unfortunately be out of town, but best of luck to everybody who is participating. And Whisper's at grocery shopping right now. Excellent, excellent, excellent. This is Dad, Matt, and I will be there. Oh, hell yeah. We love it. Yeah, I wish that I could participate, but that is Saturday at the time that is specified. I want to say it was, what, 12 o'clock? Or I might be thinking of the other event that I have going on that day. 3 p.m. Okay, so yeah, it's... That is right around the time that I have my grandmother's memorial service, and so I will be otherwise preoccupied during that time. So for you, if you limit yourself by not trying your best, you can always fall back on that. But if you try your best and fail, it's that much worse. So I'm going to, because of the fact that I'm a total nerd, as we are very well aware here, I am gonna pull a Star Wars quote on you here about a very, very specific thing here. The greatest teacher there is failure. The greatest teacher failure is. Coming from wise old Yoda, we learn a lot more from failure than we do from success. And that is something that, you know, I take with me as much as I can, because I've seen, you know, videos of mine do well and other videos completely flop, and I've come to kind of figure out that much of that comes from things that I don't have direct control over, and I can't reflect on myself, and I can't bring it to become a point of anxiety for myself. because if I use that as a way to like punish myself and remain constantly anxious, it's just not gonna go well. It's gonna end up just hurting you in the long run. All you're gonna want to do is give up. And the thing is, I will say right now that many of the failures I've had over the past year, 2 years, have helped me to get to this point where I'm sitting here in front of you being able to actually talk about something that I suffer from, and am able to talk about it without getting those anxious bits of energy here. And yes, it is, it's attitude isn't necessarily the right word. It's a mental state in a sense, and sometimes it's not simple. I will never claim that it is something that is simple. You have the steps in front of you. It's a matter of getting to those steps, and for some people those steps are just a little bit higher than for others. They might not be the most well-made stairs in the world, but they are steps nonetheless. And so you have to think of it as it is a reflection of mental illness a lot of the time. And so it's not something that you should fully blame yourself for as well. Even just like, you know, people will encounter imposter syndrome and then blame themselves for having imposter syndrome, and it's just like vicious cycle. But at the same time, like, it's a mental state more than anything, and you have to almost treat it as such. One of the craziest things here is that while it is not a recognized disorder of any kind, it is something that is not uncommon. It is estimated, if this statistic is to be correct here, 70% of people will experience at least one episode of imposter syndrome over the course of their lifetime, at least once. And here are some of the best ways to kind of define whether or not you might have imposter syndrome. Here are a couple of questions here. I'm liking this article that I found here that I'm kind of pulling all of this information from right now. Here are some questions to kind of think about. Do you agonize over even the smallest mistakes or flaws in your work? Do you attribute your success to luck or outside factors? Are you very sensitive to even constructive criticism? Do you feel like you will inevitably be found out as a phony? Do you downplay your own expertise even in areas where you are genuinely more skilled than others? Those questions right there are really some of the bigger areas of imposter syndrome. And these are areas where I have struggled as well. One of the biggest ones I would say is the question where it says, like, do you feel like you will inevitably be found out as a phony? Basically saying that, like, somebody will eventually find out, like, oh, he's not as great as he thinks he is, or he's not as great as it seems to be here. Like, there's things that are wrong with him in some way, shape, or form. And like, I already have poor self-esteem as it is. And so like, this was something that I very much struggled with and still struggle with. Although when it comes to my content creating career, like I've now been doing this for over 2 years, and I've been through all of the different experiences at this point, and it's nice to know that what you put in is what you get out. And the same goes for the type of energy that you have in your content creation. The way that you put yourself out there is how you will be perceived. And so for me, I tried to be my most genuine self imaginable. I am very nerdy. I react quite excitedly to things that I find joy out of. And I genuinely want what is best for others, what will genuinely help out as many people as I possibly can. And as a result, the community that has surrounded me, including those in Team Sanity, have just shown me that there are people out there who are just like me. And that right there is enough to keep pushing forward and try to push past this sort of phenomenon. And same goes for one of the other questions here. Do you downplay your own expertise, even in areas where you are generally more skilled than others? I did this all the time. Especially in the job that I had last year. There were many times I was told that I was terrible at my job. I was a terrible teacher. I didn't know what I was doing. And I started to tell myself that. And there would be meetings where I would be in a team of teachers and I would have the answer to something, but I would not speak up because I genuinely thought that my expertise was not something that was worthwhile. And yeah, that downplay very much hits hard for me as well, Evans. And I got to a point where I told myself, you know what? No. Like, they might have told me that I don't know what I'm talking about, but I know what it is that I am talking about, especially with some of the topic areas that they were discussing. Many of them were trying to figure out how they could actually teach these students online. And that was something that I did for like my master's program, like being like an ed tech specialist. It was literally in my jurisdiction to provide that expertise, even if they continued to tell me that I was terrible at doing my job and that I didn't know what it was that I was doing. And so all of this is to say that if you are ever feeling like this, and this is once again going to be advice that I know I have to take myself, if you feel these things, talking to a therapist is not the worst idea. And I know once again there's gonna be a couple people in chat here pointing at me, pointing fingers and saying like, hey, look who's calling the kettle black. I know I do have to in fact pull the trigger for that as well. There's a lot of things that I haven't done in terms of healthcare for the past number of years, and that is definitely one of them. But all that means is that I know what it is here. And so, you know, if you ever get to that point where you're feeling any of these things, it can not just affect your content creation, but other parts of your life quite heftily. And hey Tesha, how's it going? Love that emote. And yes, I know that's my wife ahemming me. I get it. I understand. I've been told multiple times that I show signs of a variety of different mental disorders and whatnot, anxiety and all of that, and so I've been told like, hey, come on, let's go, like poking me with a stick. And knowing is half the battle. Admitting that there is a problem that needs fixing is very much half the battle, I will say. So now it's just getting to that point. Now, something else that I do kind of want to talk about here is that there are a variety of causes for imposter syndrome, and knowing the source of where it comes from is also very important for being able to overcome it, which is going to be a topic we get to here in a little bit. And so some of the causes that are more commonplace, because of the fact that it happens across all backgrounds, ages, and genders, there are certain factors that kind of play into it here. And so, first one, family upbringing. Very important one here. Parenting styles that are characterized by being controlling or overprotective may contribute to the development of this. I can speak on that in that regard for sure. And like that's a very big one there. And so for example, you might have come from a family that highly valued achievement, or had or maybe you had parents who flipped back and forth between offering praise and being critical. And so for me, that like high value of achievement is something that I very much aggressively grew up with. If I ever came home with a grade lower than a 90, I was grounded, I was punished in some way, I was made to sit down and do more schoolwork. And so that high level of achievement, and then even at that point, if I got within the 90s but I didn't get a 100, I would say like, hey, guess what? I got a 97. My mother would be like, what happened to those other 3 points? Like, didn't care about the fact that the 97 happened. Like, what happened to those other 3 points? Why didn't you not have a 100? And so that right there, definitely something that factored into some of the causes of my imposter syndrome. And so I think I'm blowing Evan's mind here. Another cause that you could look at, new work or new school opportunities. So anytime you enter a new role, it can trigger this syndrome. And so, for example, let's say you start off at college or university, it might leave you feeling like you don't belong, or you're not capable, or that you being there is just a fluke. Isn't something you give much thought to? Well, Evans, I'm glad that I could be of assistance here. And so imposter syndrome happens a lot, and it's very common with people who are going through transitions and trying new things. That's why with earlier streamers, when you are first starting off within that 6-month period, those first 6 months, it can get to that point where that pressure to achieve and succeed combined with that lack of experience can trigger feelings of inadequacy, not actually doing well in something that you have little to no experience in. The first 6 months of me being a streamer, I streamed for, you know, once or twice every couple of weeks, and then I didn't stream for an entire summer because I was just like, what's the point of this? And then after that period of time, I came back in like in the early winter, late fall of 2020, and I said, I'm sitting down and I'm doing this and I'm going to learn. And so much of the stuff that I do is something that I have had self-taught. I taught myself a lot of these things so that I could experience them as I went. And so sometimes that was a big thing that helped me to overcome it, was being able to go at my own pace, be able to find the things that I was interested in the order that I wanted to deal with them in. Another potential cause of imposter syndrome comes from, believe it or not, your personality. And so certain personality traits can lead to potentially more or I should say a higher risk of experiencing this. Here's one of my big ones: perfectionism. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's a couple people in here who feel the same way. So perfectionism plays a very significant role. You might say, you might think that there is some perfect script for conversations, can't say the wrong thing, you have to put out the perfect piece of content, otherwise it's not getting posted. But then that ends up with you not posting it because it's never going to be perfect, and then you don't end up posting it and you're just like, why bother even doing it, because nobody's gonna like it anyway. You see the cycle going through your head here? And so there's a couple of other ones that I won't go into full detail with. I can always look into them a little bit further. But low self-efficacy is a big one. Self-efficacy referring to your belief in your ability to succeed in any given situation. If you already have low self-efficacy, it's going to contribute to this pretty heftily. And then neuroticism. I think I'm pronouncing that right. It's one of the big 5 personality dimensions that is linked to higher levels of anxiety, insecurity, tension, and guilt. Yes, perfectionism is the enemy of the good, because it can be like, you know, a lot of my earlier videos are not perfect. I put them out there and I did it, and it helped me to get to a point where my videos started to do a little bit better because I learned. It's, once again, That idea of failure is the greatest teacher that you can have. Now, one of the last causes that I will talk about for imposter syndrome, and this is one that I don't necessarily deal with. Like, I might deal with a form of this, but I don't deal with this particular form. Social anxiety. I will say that there are a number of streamers out there who are a little more on the introverted side, which means there is a link between being introverted and having social anxiety. It is not a complete one-to-one. Like, if you have social anxiety, like, you don't automatically have like, you don't automatically have it. It's just like there's a lot of overlap. There's definitely a lot of overlap, and then with that social anxiety, you also have a lot of overlap with imposter syndrome. So somebody who has that social anxiety, or even a full-on social anxiety disorder, feel as though they don't belong in social or performance situations. And so streamers obviously do things behind the scenes and are able to sit behind a camera or be able to sit behind a screen and be able to stream in that sense. Hey, Cuddle. And so I'm gonna swap around my playlist here. Let's go for a little bit more chill stuff here. I mean, if Arachnaraptor said it, then it has to be true. But then, like, with that social anxiety component, you might be having a conversation with somebody. You feel as though they're basically going to discover the fact that you're socially inept or incompetent. And so you might be delivering a presentation, feel as though you need to get through it before anybody realizes you don't belong there. Those are the people who present, who are just like, they talk really fast, and that 10-minute presentation ends up somehow becoming 3. And so a lot of the symptoms that you see with social anxiety can fuel feelings of imposter syndrome. It doesn't mean that everyone who experiences one can experience the other, but it is a cause. It can be a potential cause. And so to kind of recap, there's a lot of different areas that play a part in this, but these are some of the bigger ones. Personally, I would say for me, my biggest areas include family upbringing is a very big one. New work and school opportunities used to be one, but is not anymore. And then for me, very much perfectionism is another big area that I suffer from. So this brings us into one of the next talking points here. What some of the types of imposter syndrome are, because they do have different appearances and they can come about in a variety of different ways here. One of the biggest ones here, Evans, you're gonna know this this one as well. The perfectionist. So the perfectionist imposter syndrome. Perfectionists, never satisfied, always feel that their work could be better. Rather than focusing on their strengths, they tend to fixate on the flaws and mistakes. They often lead to a great deal of self-pressure and high amounts of anxiety, basically saying, this is not good enough, I have to try again, and it's just never going to be good enough. But also, hey Tempest, how you doing? And yeah, so of course it's fact. So yes, perfectionists definitely being one of them. Then we have what is called the superhero. These individuals, while feeling inadequate, they feel they are compelled to push themselves to work as hard as possible, even beyond what their abilities are, or even what their mental capacity is. We then also have the expert. These are people who are always trying to learn more and are never satisfied with their level of understanding. Even though they are often highly skilled, they underrate their own expertise. I would say that this is me with video editing. I get to points of this where, like, I'm not satisfied with how much I know, but I know enough where I'm able to put out like fairly high quality videos. And so, did I see my diamond? A diamond? Oh, Mrs. G Teach does. Yeah, oh, okay, geez, I thought it said me for a second. But, yeah, Mrs. G Teach has got the VIP tag. Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, that's so exciting, yes. Look at that. She's now a VIP in multiple places. So yeah, I've definitely felt the expert type of imposter syndrome before. Then we have the natural genius. These are individuals that set way too big of goals, very lofty goals for themselves, and then feel crushed when they don't succeed on their first try. Are you here to recite poetry with Elmo? I'm okay to recite poetry. But yes, the natural genius sets extremely lofty goals, and then when they don't hit it the first try, shut down. You want to hit 1K followers by next week, sits at 300 followers. Yes. Although, I would argue those aren't necessarily goals. Goals are something that you have control over, that you can directly impact. There's not much you can do to directly impact something like that. That's more of an aspiration more than anything. Like, you want to hit that at some point. Like, you want to get to that point at one point or another. But I wouldn't consider that a goal, because goals are something that you can time out, that you can do yourself. And so that's how I like to think about it, and that mindset helped me out a lot to kind of deal with some of these issues with imposter syndrome, because I you know, I definitely struggled for a while with like writing down like I was gonna hit this follower count by this time, I was gonna hit this amount of subscribers by this time, I want to stream for 36 hours straight with no sleep and have the most engaging chat ever. So if you can go without sleeping for 36 hours, I am impressed. So that one is like, I'd be very impressed if you could manage to do that. In terms of having the most engaging chat, that's something that you cannot control once again. I know you're trying to provide examples. Here is something that I would consider to be a really good goal. I want to have my brand new Twitch overlay set up by this time next month. Completely in control of that, because I'm the one making the overlay. I give myself a decent amount of time to do it, which means that if I do it before then, hey, guess what? Mission accomplished, and it's even better because I did it a little bit early. And so that's how I've kind of gone about doing goals lately myself. Just because if you don't put that in there, then it starts to get to a point of like, it's a lot more of a struggle otherwise. But I do appreciate the assistance, Cuddle. I know you were trying. I have a very specific definition of a goal that not everybody shares with me. And it's partially because of the fact that I struggled with things that I perceived as goals for a very long time, and it contributed to more issues like this in terms of my mental health. And I found that setting things that I had complete control over as goals was the best way to go about doing it for my own mental health. And that's what I typically recommend to other people, because of the fact that when you set something like, I want to hit 500 followers by this time next week, that's all fine and dandy, but whether you're at 490 or 20, it could potentially be that crazy of a goal to try and reach, because you can't guarantee, you can't sit somebody down at their computer, have them go to your stream and go and hit that follow button. There's no possible, I mean, like, unless you hire some less than legal individuals to do that. there's not really going to be a way to do that. I mean, it's that whole phenomenon that allows follow for follow, I hate to say communities, but follow for follow schemes to flourish, because it is people who are under this belief that they can hit this goal if they help to expedite the process forward. That's why we see so much of this follow for follow bullshit. It's because of the fact that people are setting goals that they don't realize are actually not goals. They are things that they have completely out of their control. The numbers come with time as you work on yourself and on your content. If you do that, the numbers come on their own, but it's natural with analytics on the internet that as a content creator, numbers will fluctuate. It might not even have to do with anything involving you. For example, I had some really crazy initial numbers when I first started streaming because a lot of people were shut down again for the second time around in November 2020, and I was able to get affiliate status very, very quickly. But then as soon as things started opening back up, I saw my numbers drop a lot. And I could have taken that personally. But I came to this realization because I used to be able to watch a lot more streams. I used to be able to watch a lot more Twitch streams and be able to interact with those people. But that was also at a time when I was stuck at home. I can't do that as much anymore because I'm not at home as much anymore. Same goes for a lot of other people anyway. And so, all something to keep in mind here, because imposter syndrome really affects you mentally because of the fact that you give yourself too much and expect yourself to fail as a result. Which actually leads into this last type of imposter syndrome, which is something that is gonna hit a little too close to home for myself here, because I will call myself out on this one. This type of imposter syndrome is known as the soloist. These people tend to be very individualistic and prefer to work alone. Their self-worth is often stemmed from their productivity, and as such, they often reject offers of assistance, and they tend to see asking for help as a sign of weakness or incompetence. That one hits a little close to home because, you know, perfectionist, like I definitely have those moments with that. I definitely have my moments with like all the other ones, but this one right here, as Evans is saying right here, oh no, it's me. I've had this one probably most often. I feel as if like my worth comes from my productivity, and my wife can very much attest to the fact that I do this. Like I will say multiple times, like today, I was on the phone with her before I hopped on to stream today, and I told her that like I felt so bad I wasn't productive at all today, and she's like, dude, it's a Sunday, it's okay, it's a Sunday, it's super nice out, like it's okay to not be productive. But for me, like I see that as like I wasted my day. Like why would I do such a thing? Like why would I do that to myself? And so that right there, the soloist is very, very much an aggressive part of how I experience imposter syndrome. Because most of the time I do see that as a sign of weakness, like asking for help, like, and that might have come from a couple of different causes. But for me, one of the biggest things growing up was I preferred to help others before helping myself, and that unfortunately meant that asking for help for me was seen as a sign of weakness for myself. Yeah, but yes, Evans, that is a very difficult concept to try and deal with, because that's exactly how I think on a regular basis, and I always have better days when I'm more productive because I see that, like, oh, I hit all of these things. Like I've shown you guys before, like, what my to-do list looks like. Like, every time I'm just about to finish, I add more to my to-do list. Like, that right there is probably not the healthiest thing in the world, but it also helps me to keep track of everything. But that right there just shows you how much I personally am affected by things like this, because I truly am. And so this kind of leads us into several things in particular. And asking for help isn't weakness, because never once has someone come to me for help and I thought, oh, what a loser. Yeah, oh, exactly. Oh, very much so. I feel that on a very significant level, and thank you for the hug, Cuddle. I appreciate you. Cuddle always giving the best hugs. Yeah, I've never thought about that. When somebody comes to me for help, I immediately jump at it to try and help them. But as soon as I think, like, oh, I need assistance, I'm like, no, I don't. They'll see me as weak. See me as somebody who can't be trusted to help other people, but that's not the case. That's not how it's supposed to be.
Hey, listen!
Yo, Zach! What's going on? Thank you for the raid! Holy shit, party of 30 rolling in here. I guess we're gonna have to do a little bit of review here. But hey, there's a quick shout out for Zach here. Thank you so much, Cuddle. How are you doing? Look at that beautiful mug there. Look at all these raiders. Simplistic Linguistic. Oh, I love that name. Fantastic. Fighters. Oh, how are you all doing? And thank you for the follow. Yes, look at all these lovely beans. Welcome in, everybody. So for those of you who don't know, right now, hey, what is going on? We are currently talking about imposter syndrome. And so I'll probably go through a brief review of everything. But real quick, for my raiders who just came in here, anybody in particular who wants to share, of course, like, you're not forced, you don't have to do just a quick, raise your hand, show an emote, whatever you want, to basically tell me if you have ever experienced imposter syndrome in either your career as a content creator or just in your regular everyday life. And yes, I do love that planet. That's really cool. Very, very cool emote. And while you guys are responding to that, Cuddle here, you're a burnt out, talented and gifted child that constantly felt like you had to overperform to earn the right to be there. Cuddle, stop being the same exact person as me. Like, you can't go and do this. So that would be important. So, Simplistic, here is what imposter syndrome is. It's an internal experience of believing that you are not as competent as others perceive you to be. And a lot of time it is applied to things like intelligence and achievement. It has links to things like perfectionism and social context. And so it's basically any of those times where you experience the feeling like you are a fraud, like you are a phony, like you are not actually good enough for what it is that you are doing. And that you don't belong where you are, and you only got there through sheer dumb luck. Outside forces. You have that in space. And so, yeah, I'm right there with you, Simplistic. And so, like, some of the characteristics, so I'll do a little review here For everybody who just came in, some of the characteristics that you see from imposter syndrome involve that inability to realistically assess your competence and skills, attributing your success to external factors, berating your performance, fear that you won't live up to either your own expectations or somebody else's expectations, overachieving, sabotaging your own success, self-doubt, and setting extremely challenging goals and feeling disappointed when you fall short of those goals. Just to give you a little bit extra of a definition here. But before we get back into reviewing things and continuing to see how you can deal with this, I do want to know all about that as well. But Zach, how was your stream? In Simplistic? Oh, I'm so happy that you could be here, Simplistic. I'm happy that I can hopefully help out as much as I possibly can. Only 8.5 hours this time. Time management. Zach, the fact that you are able to do what you do still blows my mind beyond a doubt. And so, when it comes to identifying imposter syndrome, to once again continue to review here a little bit. Yeah, total mad lad. While it isn't a recognized disorder, it is estimated that about 70% of people experience it at least once in their lifetime. Props to the 30% that don't. Like, I feel like it's so commonplace, but then again, we are also talking in a Twitch community, which means that a lot of us are in fact content creators or watch content creators or mod for content creators. Yeah, I was about to say, who are these mystical 30%? Jeez, that is one of my wife's hair. No wonder I was feeling something weird. Yeah, extremely lucky bastards. But yeah, I was about to say, is it possible to learn this power? Yeah, they gotta be machines. They gotta be people who have just everything, all their ducks in a row. Just everything is fine for them. And so if you think you might have imposter syndrome, which we've already kind of established that there are a number of people here who feel that way, ask yourself some of these questions here. If yes to any of these, there's a very real possibility that you're dealing with some imposter syndrome here. Do you agonize over even the smallest mistakes or flaws in your work? Yes. Do you attribute your success to luck or outside factors? I'm kind of in the middle on that one. I'm sometimes. Are you very sensitive to even constructive criticism? Depending on how it's given. I'm kind of in that middle sense. Do you feel like you will inevitably be found out as a phony? That one, yes. That one's definitely a big yes for me. And do you downplay your own expertise even in areas where you're generally more skilled than others? I used to do this a lot more. I'm better about this now. And hello, I'm just me. Fantastic name. Your anxiety causes something like that, but you don't think it is that? Well, if it ends up being that, then you know, feel free to let us know as we go here. Because it might be this or it might be something else. But if you are feeling any of these identifying factors here, as we had mentioned earlier, and once again, me very much giving advice that I have not quite taken myself yet, talking to a therapist is very important about these things because these can bleed over into other aspects of your life here. Now, this is where things started to get really interesting for the causes of imposter syndrome. Cuddle here saying, high achieving, highly successful people often suffer, so imposter syndrome doesn't equate with low self-esteem or a lack of self-confidence. In fact, some research has linked it with perfectionism, especially with women and among academics. Yes, I'm gonna get to that here. I'm gonna get to that here. Cuddle's jumping ahead. Yeah, she's done her research, that's for sure. No, and that's what's crazy is that imposter syndrome can be for those like a lot of the time happen. It's all good, Cuddle. It's all good. you're into the topic as we all are here because this is something that so many of us are affected by, and so you know it's a very important topic. And so I'm glad that you're jumping the gun here. I usually applaud students in my own classroom that jump the gun and end up making a point that I'm just gonna make later on. It means that it's resonating with people. That's really the biggest takeaway that I get away from that. And so some of the causes that we see. This one was a big one for me. Family upbringing. So parenting style is characterized by being controlling or overprotective. They contribute to development of imposter syndrome. That was a big one for me. My parents were very overprotective. And continuing on here, you might have come from a family that had very high values for achievement, or had parents who flipped back and forth between offering praise and being critical. I had I had family that highly valued achievement. That was a very big thing. Basically having to like brag a lot about specific areas in order to basically feel like I was being seen or heard. Otherwise, I, got these feelings of not being good enough, which very much is a factor of imposter syndrome. And so much of that comes from the fact that, I would come home with let's say, if I came home with any grade that was less than a 90, immediately I was punished in some way, whether it was being grounded, being forced to do additional schoolwork, studying more hours of work that I needed to do, talking with the teacher to get my grade up significantly and finding ways to do so. I wasn't working hard enough. I was slacking. I was being lazy. Whatever it was, like anything less than a 90 was unacceptable. And then if I got anything above a 90, if it was anything less than a 100, so pretty much like between a 90 and a 99, let's say I got a 97, I would never be told like, excellent job, good job on that 97. No, I'd be told, what happened to those other 3 points? Why didn't you get the 100? And it ingrained those little feelings there of just like, so the 97 is not what is important. What is important is the fact that I got things wrong. That means I was not good enough, even though I graduated high school with a 95 overall GPA. So that one was a very big area for me, was the family upbringing. And this can also come from families characterized by high levels of conflict with low amounts of support. Can also experience this. So if you have more of that, there's a possibility for more of that imposter syndrome there. New work and school opportunities are a big one. When you are transitioning, when you're going through like changing times, trying new things, that pressure to achieve and succeed combined with that lack of experience can trigger feelings of like, they shouldn't have hired me. They shouldn't have accepted me to the school. I'm not actually good enough to be where I'm at. That's a really big one. Personality traits are another big one, and this is gonna get back to what Cuttlefish has said in the past here. And yes, I love that, Cuddle. Reframe failure as a learning opportunity. Absolutely. Well, that's once again going back to my Yoda quote at the very beginning. Failure is the greatest teacher. We learn a lot more from failure than we do from success. And so continuing on into some of the causes of imposter syndrome, we also look at certain personality traits, which one of them happening to be perfectionism. Basically saying like unless it is perfect, or what you define as perfect, it is never going to be good enough, and you might have trouble asking for help from others, maybe procrastinate due to your own high standards. This is something that I've done on a very regular basis. I procrastinate something because I don't think it's going to be good enough. And that has led to some issues, unfortunately. But there can be other personality traits that lead to some potential issues with imposter syndrome, including low self-efficacy and neuroticism. And so with all of that in mind, we also have the issue of social anxiety can lead to this a lot. And this is kind of where we talk about how there's a lot of overlap between social anxiety, introverted individuals, and imposter syndrome. Like, all of those three are kind of on the same chart, and there is just like overlapping all over the place. And much of that just comes from the fact that some of these symptoms from each one trigger some symptoms from other ones. And so, like, for example, social anxiety here may feel as though they don't belong in a social or performative situation. You might be in a conversation with someone and feel like they're going to discover your social incompetence. Might be delivering a presentation and feel as though you need to just get through it before anybody realizes that you really don't belong there, even if you actually do. And this does not mean that social anxiety is like all people with social anxiety have imposter syndrome. Definitely not the case. There's overlap, but it's not a perfect one-to-one. And so imposter syndrome often causes like normally non-anxious people to experience a sense of anxiety. And so all of that in mind leads into the different types, which is where we left off right before the raid, which were the types of imposter syndromes that you get because there are different like subcategories. There's the perfectionist. They never feel satisfied, always feel like their work could be better. Rather than focusing on strengths, they fixate on their flaws or mistakes, and often leads to a great deal of self-pressure and high amounts of anxiety. And yes, Dalish, anxiety is rough. Absolutely. There's the superhero imposter syndrome. Because these individuals feel inadequate, they feel compelled to push themselves to work as hard as possible. Basically, they don't give themselves a break. They have to achieve everything and they have to do it as soon as possible. Then you have the expert. These are people who are always trying to learn more. They're never satisfied with the amount of knowledge that they have, the amount of understanding that they have. Even though they are oftentimes very highly skilled, they underrate their own expertise. You feeling attacked here, Cuddle? And probably from the superhero one, I'd have to say, right? Right? We have the natural genius. These are people who set extremely hefty goals, lofty goals for themselves, and then feel absolutely devastated when they don't succeed the first try that they have, first time around. Oh, the angry cuttlefish! I love it. Oh, coming at me with a knife. Oh, geez. Hey, it's okay. I don't want to go to the basement today. It's okay. Everything's fine. You didn't realize it was going to be about you personally today? Oh, man. That's what we do here. We end up talking about the things that many people struggle to talk about. Dalish. Cuddle. There's an actual... There's an actual command now. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. I love that. I had no idea that was added in there. Oh, that makes me very happy. And then lastly, in terms of types of imposter syndromes that we have out there, we have the soloist. Thank you for following. I'm just me. The last one here is the one that probably attacks me the most, which is the soloist. These are people who tend to be very individualistic, prefer to work alone. Their self-worth often stems from their productivity, so they often reject offers of assistance. They tend to see asking for help as a sign of weakness or incompetence. And yes, Tesha. Yeah. Which one? The soloist? Yeah, because I feel that one too. And that's not to say I don't work well in like group projects. I tend to work very well with other people. Well, that's me. Yeah, I feel this one. Like, this one was attack on me. Specifically the area basically stating that I do oftentimes see my self-worth in regards to my productivity. Like, even today, I was mentioning earlier, my wife was on the phone and, you know, she was on a break at work, and I said, man, I wasn't productive at all today. I had all these things planned. I only did like maybe like 2 things. Like, I went to the gym and I folded laundry, but I had plans to make all these different videos. I was gonna go on a run because it's so nice out. I had to enjoy the weather. I did none of these things, and I felt like shit for not doing it. came here to learn, not to feel. Well, here at Team Sanity, we like to also feel while we learn. Because it is very healthy to feel those feelings. You gotta let those feelings be felt and be able to ask the right questions and get the right answers for them. Now, talked a lot about what imposter syndrome is. Now it's time to figure out how to cope and how to deal and manage that imposter syndrome that it seems like a majority of the chat here is very much dealing with. And as such, we need to start asking some very hard questions here. And I know this is going to be challenging here, but just bear with me. What core beliefs do I hold about myself? Do I believe I am worthy of love as I am? And must I be perfect for others to approve of me? Now, before you go answering those questions to yourself, core beliefs that you hold about yourself, that one is very much an individual question. But I'm going to tell you the answers to some of these questions right here and right now. And eventually you will tell these answers to yourself as well. Because for these questions, while it is important and nice to hear it from others, at the end of the day, you do need to hear yourself say it. Do I believe I am worthy of love as I am? And you want to know what the answer is? Abso-fucking-lutely. You are so worthy of love as you are. Don't you dare take that away from yourself. And I know that I'm sounding a little extra intense here, but every single person here is worthy of love. Cuddle, I'm gonna send you to the basement. I'm gonna just be aggressively positive to everybody here. And I'm gonna say these things out loud to a couple people in chat here right now. Tesha, you are worthy of love as you are. Evans, you are worthy of love as you are. Cuddle, you are worthy of love as you are. No strings attached at all. Dalish, you are worthy of love as you are. I'm just me. You are worthy of love as you are. Everyone that I am seeing here in chat right now, you are worthy of love as you are. And that is the end all be all of it. And while, yes, I'm seeing a little bit of teary eyes here, it is something that needs to be said, and it's nice to hear from other people. But the thing that will matter most is when you are able to say it to yourself. Because that is equally, if not more, important to hear yourself say out loud that I am worthy of being loved as I am. And the same goes for that last question. Must I be perfect for others to approve of me? Absolutely not. There is not a person on this planet that I would define as being perfect. There is some way, shape, or form that each person, in their definition of perfection, it is all based on random things. There is no actual definition for a person achieving perfection. You might have like a personal definition of physical perfection, emotional perfection, mental perfection, but at the end of the day, it's not there. That was very smooth, Evans. And I was about to say something like that. I'm going to kind of combine these two ideas here of worthy of love and must I be perfect real quick. Because when it comes to my wife, and I'm glad you brought this up, Evans. Here is something that I want to say about my wife. Both of us will say at multiple points in time that, oh yeah, I'm not perfect, you know, whatever. But for me, she is perfect. She is perfect for me, and I am perfect for her. Well, that's all that matters. Because of the fact that we love each other, it doesn't matter, like, you know, if there are flaws that I see in myself. To her, those flaws are just part of the perfection that she sees in me. And so, I do love her a lot. Is it obvious? Mrs. G teacher, if she is lurking around right now, I'm probably making her get all teary-eyed at work. And if she's not listening, then I'm sure that that will end up getting clipped and sent to her directly. But Evans and Cuddle, I do appreciate that fact that you have brought that worthiness of love to your significant others, to your partners. Because that's how it should be. Like, that love and that belief that they are worthy of love, hey, guess what? That's the exact amount that you deserve as well. Think about that real quick. You were so quick to say that, like, yeah, well, I clearly haven't met Evans's wife. Well, guess what? That love that you just said right there, and that belief that, like, you know, she's perfect to you. Guess what? That level that you provide to her is the level you should provide to yourself at minimum. Cuddle, you Cuddle, you sack of shit. I'm trying to make a point here. That's so, yes, he doesn't have to be perfect in order for him to be perfect for you. That's the idea. And Tester, same thing. Your hubs is the only person you could ever see yourself with. He's got his flaws, but I wouldn't want to live my life with anyone else. Absolutely. Absolutely. Listen, I'd give him like a song. Cuddle, you're killing me here. I'm having this whole sentimental moment and you're just like, eh. It's alright. Eh, whatever. I know he's trash. And I'm like, what the hell? Solid 8 is good. Yeah, you know what? Fine. I'll take an 8. An 8, that's an 80. That's passing. That's more than passing. That is a, that'll get you into college. Oh my goodness. Well, moving past these feelings, you have to be comfortable confronting some of these beliefs that you hold about yourself, whether they are positive or negative. And this is an exercise that can be hard because you might not even realize that you hold them. But here are some techniques that you can use. Here we go. Ready? Something that I've been doing this entire time. Share your feelings. Talk to other people about how you're feeling. Irrational beliefs tend to fester when they are hidden and not talked about. There you go, Tasha. Yeah. So yeah, sharing your feelings is a good way to help with this, because those beliefs, like, you are your own worst enemy. You'll be talking back and forth. I'll have a full-on dialogue in my head bouncing back and forth with this. But then as soon as I voice it out loud, sometimes I even realize, like, wow, I kind of sound stupid talking about this here. But then those people are sometimes the first to say, like, it's okay to feel those feelings, but just know that they're not true. Evans, I asked my wife the other day if I was the only reason she'd, if I was the only one she'd ever been with, and she said yes. The rest were 8s or 10. I mean, that used to be one of my favorite pickup lines. Like, on a scale of 1 to 10, you're a 9, and I'm the one you need. It's a miracle my wife fell in love with me. But here's another one. Focus on others. Now, it might sound counterintuitive at first, but try to help others in the same situation as you. If there's somebody else going through imposter syndrome and you see them like awkward alone, ask that person a question and bring them into the group. And as you practice that skill, you can bring up your own confidence because you see yourself helping others. You can then apply it to yourself. And yeah, there's someone for everyone. Absolutely. Absolutely. Assess your abilities. And so, like, if you have long-held beliefs about your incompetence in certain situations, make a realistic assessment of your goals. Write down your accomplishments and what you were good at and compare that with your self-assessment. And so that way you can kind of see, like, this is what I did. Or even have somebody else that you know that is close to you write down all of your accomplishments and what you're good at, and then compare it to your self-assessment. And just see what comes across. Here's another big one. And it's kind of ironic that I say here's another big one. Take baby steps. Don't focus on doing things perfectly. But take reasonable steps to get better and better, and reward yourself for taking action. And so, for example, let's say in a group conversation, offer an opinion or share a story about yourself. You don't have to go for far in depth, but just participate. That's all. Question your thoughts. As you start to assess these abilities and take those little steps, question whether or not your thoughts are rational. And this one's challenging for me because I don't necessarily think rationally a lot of the time when it comes to this area of myself. And so this one's probably one of the ones that I struggle with the most. Tesha, I've known you for a very small amount of time, but I could already tell you some of the accomplishments that I see in you. But yeah, small, smart goals and keep track of them. Yes. Tesha, I'd be able to tell you a couple of things myself, and I have not known you for very long. If that tells you anything about your character, then I don't know. If that doesn't tell you anything about your character, then I don't know what will. Because barely known you, and you've already left a pretty significant impression on me. Just saying. Like, you became an inspiration the moment that you came in here. And so take that as you will here. Which is also a good segue into this. Stop comparing. So when you compare yourself to others, or you compare yourself to somebody else's success versus your own, it fuels that feeling of not being good enough, not belonging. And instead, you can focus on other areas of what can help improve your quality of work, or what can help you in social situations, focusing on maybe learning what other people are saying, being genuinely interested in learning more. I love bullet journaling. That's one of my biggest things. This one is an interesting one, especially in our line of work here. Social media. Now here's a pretty interesting one here. So obviously many of us use social media a lot. And especially as content creators, we're always having to, like, I'm always making stuff for YouTube, always making stuff for TikTok, always getting ready for streams on Twitch, posting to Twitter, all of that stuff. Like, all of those are issue areas, but they can end up providing feelings of inferiority. And if you try to, like, let's say, put an image up online that doesn't really portray who you truly are, it can make those feelings that you're being a fraud just worse. This is a difficult question to answer, Cuddle. Because the unfortunate part of the social media aspect is the fact that social media platforms want to push out the content that will get you staying on their platforms. It's the whole concept of that recommended section of YouTube. It's the whole concept of, like, why Instagram is in hot water right now with a lot of younger age demographics, because they push out many of those unhealthy eating habits to these, you know, young impressionable kids who think that they have to lose, you know, 20 to 30 pounds when they only weigh 70 pounds. And when it comes to the social media aspect, I see it in a couple of different ways. For starters, education is a big one. Because if you're educated enough to know that like certain things that are being posted online are not genuine, are not referring to you and your experience, that is very important. Having that internet safety, digital citizenship, that sort of knowledge of how the internet works, like all of that is extremely important to have. And then I would also even say setting limits on yourself. And they don't even have to be like specific limits. It could just be like, by the time this part of the day comes around, I'm not going to look at social media. Maybe it means that like if you're on like a lot of Discord servers, and this is a big one that I've been trying to tell myself lately, you don't have to be a part of everybody's Discord servers, because that can end up being a whole lot. You see the success of others and you start to define yourself based on the success of others. That is a struggle. Very, like, just a lot of struggle with that area of like knowing that you don't have to participate at all times in all those Discord servers for all these different streamers, because at the end of the day, as Tesha is saying here, you only use your social media platforms to track anything that pertains to you, and try really hard not to doom scroll. I love that phrase, doom scroll. Oh, pardon me, doing a lot of talking today. And a huge point to Cuttlefish, took the time to do this, and your QOL on the internet went up majorly. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And also, Dalish, thank you once again for the reminder of the Mario Kart Switch tournament on April 30th. That is this Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern. Make sure that if you want to, you join up for that. But to wrap up the last couple of points here for how to cope with imposter syndrome, another big one is stop fighting your feelings. This one is tricky. Very, very tricky. And it comes with a lot of techniques that you would see with meditating. Instead of trying to fight the feelings that you don't belong somewhere, that you are a phony, lean into them and accept those feelings. Because then you can acknowledge that you can start to unravel those beliefs that you are holding you back. You can start to pick them apart and start to see flaws in the armor that seems so impenetrable in those feelings of not belonging. When you start to basically accept that these are thoughts that you are having, they are a part of who you are right now, then you're able to determine those, like I said, gaps in the armor, to be able to bend it off and be able to say, like, you have no power over me. I am the one in control. You are not. You do not tell me what I think. I tell myself that. Cuddle here. I try to make my Twitter a place that makes people feel good and not a thing that stresses people out. I feel that, Cuddle. I got to a point on social media a little while back where I said that I wanted to aim to post exclusively positive things on the internet. And while I've not been perfect on that regard, that has definitely helped me to make decisions about what it is that I am posting. And Tess was saying you just have the hardest time with musicians. When you see other musicians putting down people and their art, it makes me really hesitant to want to release your own stuff because you're touchy about your art. So the people who are putting others down like that, when you see other musicians putting people down for their music and their art, it comes from a place of insecurity. Those are people who are taking out their own insecurities on other people because it makes them feel better about themselves. It's not a healthy thing to do, but it is what it is that they are doing. I will tell you right now, Tesha, that you have at least one fan here who would be very, very interested to be able to recognize your art. And like I said, sometimes it just takes one person to say, like, I believe in you, you can do this. But I would argue that the most important one person that has to say that to you is yourself. Sometimes, well, I should say all the time, especially in the line of content creation, there is a vulnerability that comes with it. And sometimes it is a struggle to provide that vulnerability to yourself and allow yourself to basically open to these possibilities. Because yes, there might come that negativity, but you may end up having a much more positive change in both yourself and the impact that you end up making. Can't focus on all the negative, just as you can't focus on all of the positive. Being able to understand the positives and negatives is essential in learning who you are and how you operate. And so if you don't give it a shot, if you don't try, you're never going to know. So my thing right here is, Tesha, I say, go for it. Every single person here in this chat would give you all the love and support that you ever need. And maybe then we can help you to get to a point where you can feel that support for yourself. Because that's also just as important in what we're trying to hone in on here. And Tesha, you do the same thing with digital art, but oh no, that's Dalish, sorry. You do the same thing with digital art, but you have so many people in your community who are like total hype people and always boost your confidence. I think it can also help to have a good support system. Absolutely. Support system is severely underrated. One of my buddies who I played with a couple of times on my own personal streams is working on finding a job and moving out to this area. He's actually, over the summer, I'm so sorry, I've had a cat hair clinging to the edge of my mouth there for a moment. He has been working to find a job, and he will be moving out here over the summer to actually stay with us while he looks for a place and looks for a job, as a teacher, of course. But part of it was because of the fact that he was missing out on his support system, which happened to be a lot of me, my wife, and a couple of our other friends and family who are out here. And so he got to a point where he recognized that, like, I don't have my support system here. I need my support system, and I'm gonna work and do whatever I need to have that support system. And so I think, Tesha, like, I don't want to sound presumptuous, but you have a very good support system here. And we're here to give all the love and support that we could possibly give you. Because once again, as I mentioned, from the little amount of time that I've known you, first of all, I was impressed that you even noticed little old me. So, like, there you go. Like, I'll throw my imposter syndrome back at you here and say that, like, wow, this is somebody who makes some really good content. I'm shocked that, like, it's the same thing with a couple of people in the Twitchverse. And you know, you were definitely one of them. I was, you know, when I was asked to be a part of Team Sanity, I was just like, wow, shit, I didn't even know I was, like, even, like, able to, like, be a part of this. Like, I didn't think I had anything to offer. And yet here we are having a conversation about all of this. And so, like, at the end of the day, all that means is that, Tesha, I do very much understand where you are coming from. And so it just means that I can speak from personal experience when I say that, like, you know, embrace that support system. We're here to help you out. And you did the same thing, Dalish? They asked, and I was like, oh shit, people like me? Totally feel that, especially after, like, the debacle that happened with some of my previous memberships in, you know, a follow for follow that was, you know, supposed to be a supporting community. None of that shit. And so like I was hesitant at first. I'm like, do they actually like me, or is this another like scheme or whatever? And not a scheme. I love my Team Sanity family. They are phenomenal. You and Dalish are both amazing additions to the team. I appreciate you, Cuddle. That was it. Look at that segue. Way to go, Cuddle. That is one freaking segue there. And yes, I do know we did talk about that, Tesha. Sometimes I just, you know, like to, you know, it's scaffolding. I like to make sure I'm building upon previous points and coming back and bringing them back into the limelight. And so you think that because you have to sift through those types of groups, it makes you on the fence until you get confirmation? Yeah, I was hesitant about those groups for a very long time, and then I thought I had found one that wasn't one, but it ended up actually very much being one, and so I was even more guarded and hesitant, and so all of that kind of comes together. Peachy, why are we so chaotically wholesome? Why is that like one of the best ways to describe Team Sanity? We are chaotically wholesome. Like, perfection in regards to how to describe us. Like, that's fantastic. I love that. But welcome in, Peachy. I'm so happy that you could join in here. Oh, that Uno first card, that's fantastic. Yeah, Tasha, we love coming into like chats like this, and that leads me to the very last coping mechanism for imposter syndrome. Refuse to let it hold you back. Almost like what I was mentioning a little while ago here. No matter how much you feel like you don't belong, don't let that stop you from pursuing your goals. Keep going and refuse to be stopped. Think of it like there is another person there that is standing in your way, but you are a linebacker. You are about to take this person down and continue forward, score that touchdown. There's not a chance that that is going to stop you. Refuse to let it hold you back. None of this like, you know, like, yeah, just, you know, stop it from like, you know, trying to affect you. Like, no. Refuse to let it hold you back. You are worthy and loved and appreciated. And you do not have to be perfect in order to do what matters to you and what will inevitably leave your mark on this world. Imposter syndrome will have you sabotaging yourself. Yes. And so, best thing you can do there is to follow those steps. Sharing your feelings, focusing on others, assessing those abilities, taking baby steps, questioning your thoughts, stop comparing, using social media at a moderate level. Stop fighting your feelings. Let you feel those feelings so you can find chinks in the armor so that you can refuse to let it hold you back. You have them written down? Hell yeah, Tesha. Look at this. We got people taking notes here. And so, all of this is to say that imposter syndrome sucks. It is very common. But it doesn't mean that it has control over you. You are the one who is in control. And as such, make it your own. And so, any final thoughts on really anything here involving imposter syndrome, because we are closing in on that point here where I have run out of things to say, but would love to hear more about. I cannot find this. About what your thoughts are here. You're gonna tell Mr. Cuddle that you said I was in control. Oh, for sake. I can't have any serious conversations with you, Cuddle. Oh yes, excellent. So Dalish, fantastic. So this survey here, please make sure to fill this out, because this Academy survey helps us to let us know what we can do, what we can cover for you that is helpful for what it is that you want. And so we've got like a couple of areas that might benefit you the most, what areas of technology you might want assistance in, areas of improvement that you might want, live reviews, any of that stuff. Like, all of this is helpful information for us so that we can continue to make content and Academy streams that cover what it is that you want to see, because that's what I'm here for. I have, and once again, I gotta fight the imposter syndrome here. I have a lot of experience and knowledge when it comes to this whole streaming thing and this whole content creation thing. Am I perfect? No. Am I still learning? Absolutely. But I know a decent amount, and enough to a point where I can say all sorts of things and provide you with all sorts of assistance and help here. So could someone who wants to stream ask for, say, a rundown on how to get up and running? Absolutely. Absolutely. If you are learning how to stream for the first time and you want some help on that, who knows? Maybe we'll even go through a whole process of putting together an overlay or something along those lines. But sounds perfect. That would be a very good one, Dalish, to go through, just like how things would function as like a new channel. That would be really cool, actually. I would love to cover something like that. And who knows, maybe another plug for Canva, because I plug Canva for everything. I use it for everything. I used it to make this overlay that you see around me right now. I used it for the overlay that I have now on my stream. All of it is stuff that I made myself. And yeah, I'm working on getting a affiliate status for Canva so that I can actually offer you guys maybe like a discount code or of some kind. Or at least, like, since I plug it so much, I might as well see with that and whatnot. How can Canva help with your imposter syndrome? It allows you to do things that typically you would have to use like Photoshop or Illustrator to make, and yet Canva allows you to just make those things a lot easier. Yeah, they do punch Adobe in the chin. They take some of the advanced functionality. They take a lot of the advanced functionality of Adobe products. They narrow it down and they make it easier to use for us cretins, us plebeians out there. But I wouldn't mind potentially doing something like I know a lot of people have asked about stuff involving video editing would be a big one, because I know that a lot of people out there absolutely hate video editing. They want to know how to do it better, or they want to know how to potentially do it faster, or truly a lot of people just want to not be able to do it at all. And so looks like the one you just, well, let's see, make sure, because the form that yeah, these forms seem to be working. Yeah, I don't know. Well, I'll have to look at it with you and see if we can figure out what's going on with all of that. But I feel like some video editing, maybe some audio editing would be some good places to be at that we can look into, because we just did an entire month on mental health and time management and whatnot, because all of those areas are very important for streaming. We haven't done a lot of tech related things yet, and I know that for a lot of people, we're looking for maybe a break from feeling feelings for a little bit. And so I'd be more than happy to do a little bit of that. But if we like feeling our feelings, then we can certainly continue with that as well, and be able to incorporate that in for a couple of different areas. But that is what the forum is for, so that way you can fill out exactly what it is that you want us to do, what you want to see from us, and we will make it happen. Ooh, you want to learn my editing skills? Okay, sounds good. I'll even I'll do it in a couple of different areas. We can look at oh, Tasha, don't you ever apologize for getting the sudden urge to work on something you're passionate about, because you are passionate about it, and I am very happy that you are, even if I had some small part to play in getting you excited to do that. But well, let's see here. I love the sparkle, it's so cute. You need to learn what the side chaining is. Don't mind me as I look up what side chaining is. An effect that you have on one sound that is triggered by the level of another sound. Interesting. Okay. Think you can talk to Stranger Piece about it? Audio talk. Yeah, I don't have as much experience with that. I mean, I've done audio editing in the sense of like podcasts and whatnot, which that's something we can definitely go over as well, because that one's like that sort of editing I can easily help out with as well. You can do it for when you're streaming. Ooh, intriguing. I mean, I know that like I've done my best over the past like couple of months to improve the audio quality of my stream, because I always usually had like a pretty decent quality for sound, but now I obviously have a much nicer setup. I've got a much nicer microphone. I've got a Go XLR that I can use to make all of that sound just even nicer. And so audio levels very important for stream, so that could be a very good topic for a Stranger Piece to go into. Which does remind me, keep an eye out for next week. This is something that I obviously will be talking to you about, Cuddle, specifically, and to you, Dalish, as well. As I had mentioned, next week I am going to be out of town attending my grandmother's memorial service, about 8-ish hours away from where I currently am at, and so I will be gone all weekend. I'll be leaving Friday morning to head up to my grandmother's house, where we will be staying for her memorial service, and we won't be back until late Sunday. And so, Tasha, it is quite all right. I just wanted to make sure that you guys were all aware. She was definitely... that's all good. That's all good. I appreciate all the love, guys. I really do. She was definitely in a rough place. She was not doing very well health-wise, and so when she passed away, I had more feelings of relief than I did sadness, because she was suffering so much, and now I just know that she isn't suffering anymore. And so it is those are definitely the feelings that I have on the matter. I know that it's going to be very rough for some of my other family members, and so definitely preparing myself for the emotional toll that will take. And so I will definitely just not be back in time on Sunday next week to stream at 3 o'clock, and so I will not be on Team Sanity Academy next week. There might be somebody else. There might not be a stream. We'll have to kind of see where that goes, and so it could end up going either way. But I appreciate all the love from all of you here between Dalish and Tesha and Cuddle. Love all of you here. Cuddle, I appreciate your face. But yes, that's pretty much the thing. Tesha, you spelled it out perfectly. I gotta be prepared to be emotionally strong for others. I know that specifically my mother and my sister will have a very challenging time, which will probably lead to my brother and my dad having a pretty tough time. And so I'm looking to be the rock for my my family this upcoming weekend, because I know they'll be having a tough time. So, and all the hugs to you as well, Peachy. I appreciate each and every one of you so much, much more than I could ever hope to describe, because you all rock so damn much. You're all great. What is going on here? Oh, okay. That's something totally different. I thought it was a message for something to cover right now, so I was just double checking. So remember, you have friends who will be a rock if you need them when you come back. Tesha, this is why I appreciate you and just your place in all of this, because I really do. Like, you're just fantastic. Just like, thank you. And this is why, Tesha, I say that you have so much value to bring here. And so just know that any amount of positivity you throw my way, I will also throw right back at you tenfold. And so, same with you, Dalish, same with you, Peachy. That's just how I do things. I attempt to one-up people, and that usually means that I'm one-upping people in the positive vibes that are being thrown out my way. So, just keep that in mind there. So I was supposed to kind of wrap things up today with a stream review, but I am unable to find that person anywhere on Twitch. Competitive emotionally. That's fantastic. I love that. You want to go? I'll energy match. We love you too. No. We all love you, Dalish. Like you just being the fantastic person that you are. Like, damn, how could one person be that amazing and incredible and loving and kind? Yeah, no holding on. Don't you reverse card my ass? You can't. No, you know what? Where is that? Damn it. I don't have that emote. I don't have that emote. I can't Uno reverse your Uno reverse card. Holy shit, she was prepared. I freaking can't. I hate all of you. This round goes to Dalish. Yeah. She pulled out the Uno reverse card. You can't pull that out every time. Do I have voice mod up and running here? I can. Yeah, no, my soundboard isn't working at all, so I have to update all of that stuff. Well, in the meantime, I can quickly plug the Team Sanity Mario Kart Switch tournament for this upcoming Saturday, April 30th at 3 p.m. Eastern. If you think you have what it takes to kick everybody else's ass on the Switch, playing some Mario Kart, then well, this is going to be your time to shine. Personally, I was actually preparing for said tournament, which is why I have this here, but then realized I wouldn't actually be able to participate. And then as well, Dalish mentioning here Monday, April 25th, which is tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern, we have Team Sanity After Dark with Numb Dinosaur. And then, yes, Cuddle has mentioned here that if you want to have your stream reviewed next week, please make sure to use the command !join to join right in. Aang. I love Aang. Did I miss something? What do you mean by Aang? Or is that Numb Dinosaur?
Okay with being like more self-centered now.
Numb Dinosaur.
Instrumental way, but
Aang is Numb Dinosaur. Got it. Got it. Okay.
what I need, team around me,
Let's see if...
almonds.
Which one is it? Because there's... is it Numb Dinosaur 83? Angelic... I want to make sure I follow them, and I want to make sure I'm following the right person here. Let's see. Stranger Piece. Oh, yeah, this is them. There are some of their recommended streamers include Stranger Piece, Purple, and Cuddle. So that's it. Yep. Looks like they're 83. They look very wholesome. I like their hair. I thought you were trolling Cuddle by saying you love Aang from... I see, I love the true Avatar of the Last Airbender, as you can see here by the actual stuff from the actual show, because there is no movie in Ba Sing Se. I'm doing this shit again. Bitch. Your friend was on that show? What do you mean? As a voice... Who did they play? Wait, who was it? Holy shit, that's awesome. But yes, what nation would I be? James Charles Miller. Okay, hold on. Let's see here. Oh my goodness, that's fantastic. He was one of the prisoners. I know exactly which character that is. Oh, that's funny. And then it looks like they had like a couple of other like uncredited voices. Oh, that's so cool. Oh, I would have that's something that, like, if I ever get the opportunity, like if someone comes along and says like, hey, I want you to do some voice acting stuff, I will totally do it, because that's something that just feels like it would be a lot of fun to do. Makes me nervous? Why does he make you nervous? And yes, I did know that they are coming out with a live action TV show. I am worried because they've changed already a lot of the significant details, and the show creators left because of creative differences, which already tells me that, like, I could potentially be extremely disappointed. Because if the show creators who made, like, the beautiful thing that it is, left because of creative differences, that worries me a lot. I'm hoping that it isn't hot garbage, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. But later, Evans, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate your face. We're going to be raiding out here momentarily. And he's so talented, but that's awesome, Tasha. Like, right there, that is just fantastic. Musician, voice actor, someone I looked up to. That is so cool. So freaking cool. Yeah, what else did they happen to do here? So can we swap up the song here? Better. Okay. Oh, and they were also in The Legend of Korra as well. They were in several things. Jeez. Oh, geez. Oh, wow. It actually got a really cool list of stuff. Oh, that's so cool. That's really cool. Twitch streamer. Fantastic. Alrighty. Well, we need somebody fun to raid today. And so, thank you so much for joining today. If you have anybody in particular that you would like to see raided today, please let me know, because I am open to really any possibilities here. There are just too many awesome people out there in the Twitchverse that need some love and support. And so, if you have anybody in particular, Mama Tamango. Let's see here. Mama Tamago. Need to make sure I'm pronouncing it right. Goodness, oh, I love it already. I love the vibes here. Art and tutorials on how to improve your oh, they also do that. I want this for you. She's such a great streamer and a mix it up bot content creator. Oh, fantastic. You know what? Let's freaking do it. Loving the wholesome vibes right here. And I love the little cute thing she has on her microphone here. Oh, that's fantastic. Yes, wholesome egg. I love the vibes putting off here. I would have so much in common. Yeah, I've been looking into mix it up. That's something that I want to use at some point, because I want people to be able to throw fruit at me whenever they feel like it. So that was that was something I was looking into. So let's do it. So let me make sure I'm pronouncing it right. So Mama Tamago, or Mama Tamago, I think. Okay. I'm so bad with names. Mama Tamago. Okay. Mama Tamago. I don't even know which one I said. I'm so terrible at this. Alrighty. So, Mama, we're coming in hot. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining Team Sanity Academy today. Like I said, I will be taking a break next week, but be on the lookout for other Academy-related things here. Cannot wait to see you guys back here again. Dalish here on a last note. Love Mix It Up. They did a recent update though, and it's messed a bit of stuff up. Which reminded me I need to fix. Ah, yes, of course. And then great things to kind of add in here at the very end here. Discord, if you want to join in the Switch tournament, April 30th at 3 p.m. Eastern. Tasha, I am matching your excitement here. Let's do this. Let's hop right on into this. Cannot wait. I will see you all very shortly. And as I always say, class, you are officially dismissed. Love all your beautiful faces. You are all valid and loved. And I will see you in the next stream. Peace out, guys.
Wouldn't be as intensive because